right, well, hopefully your summer's going well. I got a couple updates. So if you've met me before, you probably haven't heard this phrase, catch-22. It's a new project that I'm working on, and it's kind of fun for me. What is catch-22? Well, can I or anyone else go compete with their 20-year-old self physically? And in the last 3 years, I've discovered some things that for me have given me more hope to go in that direction than previously. I've been a wellness coach for 27 years now. Every year, 1 to 3 things jump out at me and say this is worth taking a look at. So what are the main things that are different now that I kind of wanted to give an update to people that maybe it'd be a good time to, come in and take a look around and see what is new. So one big one for me is going to be movement. The way I work out is different. The inputs and what I'm trying to do is very different than what I was trying to do when I was 20 and what I was trying to do about 10 years ago. There's ways to move to get out of pain and to gain more range of motion and more strength through range of motion that is way more healing to the body, and it's not wildly known, but or widely known, but it's getting traction. And for the last 3 years, some of the things that I can do now, I know I could not do when I was 20 anything, or before my life. Maybe when I was 10 I could do, but not at 20. So movement is a big one. The biggest study of late for me has been another thing called trauma. What is trauma? Major ones, minor ones. I call it macro and micro trauma. But we're used to it as a society having all this trauma build up. And how do you get trauma processed out of the body? There's ways to do it. It's a unique environment in which to reduce trauma. It's a very supportive environment where we can decompress emotionally, physically, and start getting some of that trauma out. But what I realized is, in my 20s, I had major traumas. I got hit by a car when I was 9 years old. That affected the way I moved. I got my arm broken when I was 7 years old. That was 42 years ago. But there's still things that, my body is working around that. But I've made more progress in the last 3 years than I probably did in the last 30 years on some of these things. So I know that my 20-year-old self was dealing with some of these traumas that I didn't have a clue about, and B, I didn't know how much they were messing up my movement. And now that I've been able to start processing some of that out through screening, some exercises to figure out where the weak points are, and some techniques for getting rid of trauma, it's like I'm getting more fluid in movement, I'm getting faster, it's getting easier to move, I'm getting rid of pain. So these are the project that I'm working on right now is catch-22. What are all the things that I've compiled that give me reason to believe that if I could push these buttons as many times as I want, so yes, I need lots of time to put into it, and yes, I'm going to put lots of money into it, but so what? If I can catch my 20-year-old self in my 40-yard dash and my vertical leap and play with that in my 50s, to me that's fun. So if you have questions about it, I'd love to talk to you and put you through an evaluation process and see if we can find some low-hanging fruit in these areas and see if we can get you on a better path to recovery and some excitement. I'm looking forward to going from 49 to 50. I'm making a bigger push to see if I can catch 22. So if you want to know more, let's talk.